Hello again, guys. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about another nation in Dominion 6. This is another older nation, not a new one from Dominion 6, and this is the nation of Late Age Relay. Now, in a previous video, I talked about Early Age Relay, but a lot of things have changed since then. In the Middle Age, these creatures, the Star Spawn, arrived from some kind of meteor, and according to the lore, they basically took over the entire ocean and kicked everyone out of it. In the Late Age, you see there are no other true underwater nations except for Late Age Relay. All the other underwater nations are pretty much just amphibious. They're based on the coast or on the land somewhere with some amphibious units, because basically they've all been kicked out of the deep sea ocean, and Relay is the only one left. However, by the time you get to the Late Age, the Star Spawn have been misusing the Void Magic and the Void Gate a little bit too much, and it causes this pop-kill Dominion madness effect. So their Dominion not only kills population, similar to other pop-kill nations like Ermor or Asphodel, it also creates a lot of these Dreamer units and other kind of strange void creatures. And it also makes anything without Void Sanity, that is this trait here, Void Sanity, it causes everything else to go mad, basically. So you'll get a lot of units with this insane tag to different degrees, and basically the longer they spend in your Dominion, the more insane they will get. Now, this is good and bad for different reasons. It's good because it makes it very difficult for anyone to invade you. Anyone who goes into your Dominion is going to take madness effect, and eventually all their commanders are going to go mad. They're not going to be able to listen to anything you tell them. The bad part is a lot of your commanders are going to start going mad as well. Now, your Star Spawn units, which are all the Illithids basically have Void Sanity 10, and the Star Spawn Child, or the Star Child, has Void Sanity 5. Now, I believe even Void Sanity 5 is enough to avoid madness, though I don't really know. I think it's not perfect. I don't exactly know the rate in which Void Sanity prevents madness, but I believe with Void Sanity 10, it's a very, very small chance for getting any madness. And usually it'll be a random chance every turn to get some degree of madness or not. Someone with no Void Sanity of all, for example, this Void Cultist, he's already insane. He's going to go even more insane the longer he sits in your Dominion. So this is a big problem. Now, compared to the Middle Age, Late Age Relay doesn't really change that much. You could see, if you look at the lineup of Late Age Relay and compare it, for example, to Middle Age Relay, you'd almost think you're looking at the same nation. Like, this looks almost exactly the same. There's very, very little difference. But because of the nature of your Dominion being pop kill and causing madness, and because of a lot of other things that have changed since the Middle Age, this nation plays very different from its Middle Age version. Now, in previous Dominion games, there was kind of a strategy that some people did, and I'll go over that a little bit, of playing Late Age Relay almost like a slightly gimped version of Middle Age Relay, in that you take a super low Dominion score and really try to focus on just playing the same as you would with Middle Ages and getting a lot of production, getting a lot of your Meteorite Guards out. These are really excellent units in the Middle Age because they have great magic armor, they have a magic weapon, and just really good units in general. Just focusing on kind of things like that, getting lots of money and stuff, and just playing the same as you would in Middle Age while strategically using your priests to boost your Dominion whenever it's necessary, or using some of the unique spells to cause insanity or raise Dominion in other provinces as well. So that's one strategy that used to be a little bit easier. However, with the changes to the Bless system in Dominion 6, it seems, to me at least, that strategy is a lot more difficult now. You can see the scales in Bless, they have a sloth limit of +1. So this means you simply cannot take a production-based build anymore, and it kind of disincentivizes you from really going heavy into that kind of strategy of minimizing your Dominion and maximizing your production. Now, I do think it's possible, but another thing that makes it difficult is the really lack of god choices. For example, Late Age Relay has a really limited selection of gods, and even more than that, a lot of these gods are simply just not useful for you. Maybe, again, if you take a low Dominion score, they could be, but a lot of these are going to go insane if they're sitting in your Dominion. So something like a King in Yellow, he has Void Sanity 20, so he's never going insane, so he'll be okay regardless of how strong your Dominion is. However, a pretender like something very generic, like the Hydromancer, he has no Void Sanity at all. He's going to go insane very, very quickly, and suddenly you're just going to have an insane god doing nothing, being useless, basically. So that's not really great, and it's also not really easy to cure Insanity. I believe even killing the unit will not cure it of Insanity. It'll just come back insane as well. So that's a big problem. You really have to pay attention to which ones you're choosing, because only a few of these gods actually have Void Sanity. The Firstborn of the Star has it. The King in Yellow has it. The Floating Mind has Void Sanity. The Void Lord and the Utter Vast. And I believe the Void Lurker. These are the only gods you can choose from that come with Void Sanity. Now, you can make some items to give your god Void Sanity later. However, you have to be very careful with them so he doesn't rack up any insanity points while he's, camping around your Dominion. Again, that's something you think about if you're going for a very low Dominion build. Maybe try to keep your god out of your capital as much as possible and keep him away from anywhere with your Dominion. However, the problem with that is, since he is your god, he will raise the Dominion of whatever province he's in. So I think it's very, very difficult to avoid that. And frankly, I can see a lot of problems with trying to manage your god's insanity. It seems like it won't work out that well. So while I'm talking about this, let's talk about the nation a little bit first. Now, as I said, this is very similar to the lineup in Middle Age Relay. And even in Early Age Relay, a lot of these units are returning again. Let's look at the units first. You have your kind of staple units, the Lobo Guard and the Shambler. These are both great because they're mindless. This means they will never ever rout. It means also they will never go insane either. They're slaves, so they're really cheap. They're totally amphibious. Lobo Guard's amphibious as well. They're also magic beings, which makes them a little bit difficult to corral. However, if you load them up with some of your leaders, like most of your commanders have pretty decent magic leadership, and the build I actually went with in the game I'm going to show also boosts your magic leadership a lot as well. This is definitely a nation where you really want to boost your magic leadership as much as possible, just because you're going to be getting a lot of free spawn magic units, and you really need to just shuffle them around somewhere, so having commanders who can actually take a bunch of them and move them somewhere is really useful. Also, another thing, you're going to get a lot of free spawn commanders, so I wouldn't really worry too much about trying to move the units around. You're going to get tons and tons of guys popping up that can move your units around for you. So you have the Lobo Guard, who are just a generic, very weak unit, but they're so cheap, you can mass tons and tons of these guys and throw them at the enemy. In Middle Age, this is kind of your bread and butter unit. The Lobo Guard and the Shambler are a big aspect of Middle Age strategy, as well as the Meteor Guard. In the Late Age, I tend to not use these too much. I mean, you're going to get so many free spawn units that are almost the exact same as your Lobo Guard anyways, and they're insane, so they're not really going to... They may rout, so maybe you could get some Lobo Guard as just like filler units as well. These two are still okay in this age. I think because you kind of have to take really shitty scales, and you're probably not going to have that much money coming in. Both of these are okay choices since they are so cheap, especially the Lobo Guards. And the Shambler Thralls are a little bit more expensive, a little bit more recruitment, but again, you can still get a few of them. So these still are good options in the Late Age. I think even better, just because they're amphibious, they're very cheap, and they're mindless, so they won't care about routing or anything like that. They'll hold the line. All the other units too, to be honest, I just pretty much don't use any of these units as Late Age Relay. Again, you're getting so many free spawn units that are almost identical to these guys, and these guys don't have great morale either, and they're all slaves too, so unless you have someone with Taskmaster leading them, they're going to be pretty miserable units. So I tend to not really use any of these normal troopers at all, pretty much. The one units I use, aside from the Lobo Guard and Shambler Thrall in Late Age, is the Crab Hybrid. Now, this is an excellent unit in the ocean only. Now, this is aquatic only, so once you're finished conquering the ocean or conquering your area in the ocean, you kind of need to switch away from these guys or just dump them somewhere. Other than that, though, because you really need to expand quickly as Relay, and you might be faced with some pretty tough competition from amphibious nations coming underwater to get you, it's really good to expand quickly and just focus on crab hybrids only for the first several turns. Pretty much until the end of year one, I just recruit crab hybrids only from my forts, until I can get a little bit decent expansion and get enough free spawn spawning in that I can supplement my armies with other things. Same with Shambo Thralls and Lobo Guards. These are both good too. You also have these Illithids. Again, in Middle Age, these are good because, especially these guys, they have a Mind Blast attack and a Life Drain. So you can stick these in the back, and they're just like cheap Mind Blasters. However, in the Late Age, they're kind of too expensive to be justified. I tend to not really recruit these guys. I mean, just you're so strapped for cash in Late Age that I just don't get these guys at all. I don't think the Mind Blast is that worth it. I mean, you can get them if you want, but I don't really bother with them. Then you have your hybrid troops. These are land-only options. I mean, they're fine too, but usually you'll get a ton of these guys just spawning free spawn anyways, so I wouldn't worry too much about them. You also have hybrid soldier. There's not much to say about him. He doesn't even have a Mind Blast, so not much to say about that. He's not great or anything, and you're going to get so many free spawn anyways, so I wouldn't worry about this too much. The hybrid commander is not too bad. He does have a Mind Blast, and he can just lead your units on land. Not much to say about him. He also doesn't have any. Void Sanity, so he will start going insane as well, which is a little bit unfortunate. Though so will the Void Cultist, and he's your other kind of land priest as well. So you see a big problem with Late Age Relay. This is a nation that's very limited in what it can do because it's not only pop kill, which is very difficult to play as in general, but it's a very bad pop kill nation. This is probably one of the hardest nations in the game to play because its playstyle is so unique, and your Dominion effect of causing insanity not only is detrimental to others, but it's also detrimental to you too. So it does hurt you a lot with that insanity. So in general, what I try to do when I'm creating a god for this nation is try to mitigate that as much as possible. So what I was thinking about with this nation, there's a few things you have to consider. One, you have a hard time expanding in the water. Your better, more durable troops are honestly just too expensive to really mass them, and your scales are honestly going to be trash almost all the time. Now you can take some options to mitigate that. Again, if you want to go for a very production heavy build, something more akin to what you would have in the Middle Age, you can do that. However, I tend to not like that in Dominion 6. Even Dominions 5, I found that very unwieldy and kind of counterintuitive because it's like you're fighting against your nation's design, and it just makes you a weaker, shittier version of Middle Age. And I find it just, it's difficult, and it tends to not work. I mean, maybe some people can make it work, but I've never been able to make it work. I tend to just go full into my Dominion strength and trying to leverage that strength as much as possible. So I usually take a high Dominion score. I usually take a very shitty Dominion, but also having some benefits, for example, with the magic and with luck as well to maximize the amount of income and free gems I will get. And thinking about that, I tried a few god options that can really leverage that. Now, there's basically 3 options I was considering, and I really only considered gods with Void Sanity since I'm going for a very high Dominion build. That was the Firstborn of the Star, the Floating Mind, and the Void Lord. Utter Vast could also be an option, but I don't know, he's very expensive. He's a little bit cheaper, I think, in Dominion 6 than Dominion 5, but he also is guaranteed dormant. So unless you're fairly confident that you'll be okay for the first year or so, I probably wouldn't go for this. I'd like something that can help me expand immediately. And you can see from this lineup, you don't really have that many good expanders that are also Void Sane. Now, you have things like Earth Serpent or like Sea Dragon or whatever, but these guys are not Void Sane, so they're going to go insane very quickly. That really leaves you with not that many options. Now, the King in Yellow, in Dominions 5, I used this guy as an expander, and he was not bad. He's a little bit squishy, but if you give him some armor, like a helmet and some body armor, he's astral, so he can make himself like enchanted ringmail or something. He can do okay. He does have a fear effect, which gives him a little bit more breathing room, and with a decent bless, he could be all right. He does have glamour as well, so he can cast some glamour spells himself, like Displaced Body, which does help a lot. This is much better than Death he had in Dominions 5. I kind of like the glamour astral crosspath in this game. And I'll talk about what you have for your mages, because going from Dominions 5 to Dominions 6, Relay has changed a lot. You're no longer a death astral nation. You are a glamour astral nation, and you're barely even a water nation at all. You don't have much water magic at all. But let me talk about the god designs. So the first one I looked at was the Firstborn of the Star. And this is something I would choose if I was really, really confident that I was not going to get invaded. I could take something imprisoned and just go for something pretty big Dominion. maybe even really cheesy. I'd probably still go 3 Sloth and Turmoil like that. But I think if I was going for something like this, I would try to go for something very long term, maybe like Astral, Death, and Nature. Go for something like a Tartarian build or something like that. So this would be a very late game kind of thing. So I'd take some like Reforming Flesh. Where is it? Recuperation. 5 and 6. And then maybe something for Astral as well, for example, Arcane Finesse. Something like this could be okay, and now this will allow you to summon Tartarians a little bit later in the game. Now I'd have to adjust this a little bit, so something like this, maybe this would be okay. So with Reforming Flesh and Recuperation, once this guy wakes up in about 3 years, he can summon Tartarians, and this also gives you a little bit more bonuses with your scales. So you have the Magic and Luck, which are very important for Late Age Relay, but you also have Growth, which helps offset the pop kill effect a little bit. Your pop kill effect is not as strong as some other nations where it's very, very aggressive, but you still want to be careful with it, and you only have 2 growth maximum, so it's not going to do much, it's just going to make it a little bit slower, but that does help with income and things like that. As for Sloth and Turmoil, I wouldn't even bother, just dump these because you don't really need them as Late Age Relay, and for the heat scales, it doesn't really matter, but I prefer Cold because then I can get Ice Elementals. And again, going for a high Dominion, just for the general Dominion strength bonus, and for making it easier to spread on land, as well as getting more free spawn as well. So in general, this is quite good. One thing I would say is really try to go Magic 3. This is your priority, because I believe your free spawn also scale based on Magic scales, but I'm not exactly sure. So this could be an option, but this is a really greedy, long-term option. And this is something maybe more suited for Middle Age Relay if you're going to play that nation, because that's a nation where you really want to focus on scales. If I was playing Middle Age Relay, I'd go scales and go for something like this, like a Tartarian Bless. Something a little bit better, this is actually what I went with in the game I'm going to be showing, is the Void Lord here. And now I took much worse scales with this guy. Something like this. I took him Awake. And I think I went like that. Let me see exactly. I took these 2, as well as Arcane Command and Arcane Finesse. Yeah, I think this is exactly what I took. So yeah, that's perfect. So I took this Bless, not only because the Void Lord, I was looking at all the god options you have, and out of all of these, the Void Lord looked like the best expander in terms of what is not too, I mean, it's still quite expensive, but what I think could expand well, and what is also Void Sane. Now, probably the Utter Vast is better, but you can't take the Utter Vast Awake, so I took the Void Lord. And he has a lot of good things about him. For example, he has this Life Drain attack that'll help heal him when he's fighting a big group. He has a big Fear aura, so he has Fear 10. Of course, he's Void Sane, he's unsurroundable, so he doesn't really care if people surround him. He also has a Mind Blast, you can have him sit in the back, and he has a Magic Claw attack. So this guy gets 3 attacks, 2 normal attacks, and 1 kind of range attack. And he's just very beefy in general. He has a decent amount of hit points. He's quite strong, quite good attack defense skill. So in general, this I think is your best bet if you want an expander as, a Void Sane expander as Late Age Relay. And I took this Bless for a few reasons. Arcane Finesse, mostly to help out my Illithids. You don't actually have that many Sacred Commanders. I'll go through the commanders in a minute. But this Star Spawn is the only Sacred Mage you have. I don't think you have any others. I don't think any of these guys are. I guess the Void Cultist is, but he only has a 20% chance of being an Astral 1 mage, so usually he's not going to be a mage, just he's going to be a priest. But most of the time, this Star Spawn is going to be the only Sacred Mage you have, and this is probably going to be the main mage you'll be recruiting in a lot of places, just because he is Void Sane, and he's also Recruit Anywhere. This one and the Star Child are probably going to be the ones you recruit the most, especially because the Star Child can be recruited in land forts as well, coastal forts. So I took that because this will help boost the penetration of any communions or any kind of groups. Now you will get a lot of free spawn Astral Mages. A lot of these little Astral 1 guys will spawn, so that's quite nice. And some of your Void Cultists will be Astral 1 as well, so you can kit them into communions. Arcane Finesse just helps with the penetration of any communions. Arcane Command gives a Magic Leadership bonus. Now this is actually a lot improved from Dominions 5. Dominions 5 was just a flat +10 to Magic leadership. Now it gives +10 to commanders who can't lead who have 0 magic leadership. It'll give them +10. But if the commander can already lead magic beings, it gives them +25. So for example, let me see an example, which is a good one. Like this guy, Void Cultist, he has magic leadership 10. He will have magic leadership 35 with this. So that's really, really good. And you need a lot of magic leadership and just leadership in general, just to shuffle around all your ridiculous free spawn just from place to place as relay. So having a lot of leadership is good. And that's also why I took Inspirational Presence. For one, because it gives you the morale boost of the inspirational effect. And this is constantly on. You don't need to bless. So that's great, because sometimes you just have a ton of just junk shoved into a squad, or maybe you're over your squad limit or whatever. This is a common problem as late age relay, where you just have a mess of just units mixed together, or more than one squad, too many units, too few commanders, and so on. So having a little bit of that inspirational boost really helps with the morale, prevents all your units from running. Since your units are they're not mindless most of the time. They are mindful, I guess. They will route. So that's a big problem with routing as late age relay. So this will help prevent routing and give a big leadership bonus for a lot of your Sacred Mages. So for example, this guy's leadership 10, he will get +50 to his leadership. So that's excellent as well, since a lot of your units will also not be magic beings. So this just gives a great coverage. Arcane Command, Inspirational Presence. I think leadership is such an important thing for late age relay, and it's such a big problem where you have different types of units, you have morale issues, you have so many things. I think both of these are so useful for late age relay. And the last one, I thought, this is something new for Dominion 6. I thought this would be an interesting idea. Righteous Wrath. Now this is kind of the inverse of Blood Surge. Blood Surge is when you kill an enemy unit, it'll give you a bonus. Let me just take a look at Blood Surge quickly. So Blood Surge, if a Sacred unit kills an enemy, they will get this bonus of 3 attack, 3 strength, 1 defense, 1 reinvigoration. Now Righteous Wrath is the opposite. If a Blessed unit dies, then the other Blessed units around him will get a bonus of 3 attack, 3 strength, and a morale boost. So the reason I took this is because while you don't have that many Sacred units, you don't have any Sacred units except for, actually I don't think you have any. You don't have any Sacred units at all. You have a couple Sacred Mages, like 1 or 2. But you do have a lot of Sacred free spawn. So let me actually go, let me go there quickly. Now, they don't really show up here, but I'm going to go actually to the wiki. Now, this only shows Dominions 5, but I think these are all the same in Dominion 6. From when I've played, I haven't seen any new units. All of these kind of units, these like things, spawn, thing from beyond, formless spawn, all of these are sacred. So you can see right here, sacred, magic bean, amphibious, need not eat, and so on. All of these things will spawn in your Dominion just randomly, and all of these things are sacred, and you will end up with quite a few of them. Now, some of these guys are immobile, like the Thing of Many Eyes, and I think the Thing from Beyond are both immobile, right? Yeah. So some of these guys are immobile, but a few of these guys, like the Otherness, the Thing from Beyond, Elder Thing, Formless Spawn, all these guys are quite useful. You'll get a fairly decent number of these. And I was thinking, my thinking was that Righteous Wrath will help boost them a lot. Because, for example, if one of your crappy free spawn void things dies, then it'll give all the other ones a big boost, and that'll be very, very nice. And since you're free spawning them, you're gonna have quite a lot of them no matter what. Eventually, once you get a little bit later in the game, you have tons of them building up. This can actually be really, really brutal if, for example, you send a big swarm of these things, these void things, free spawn in, and a couple of them die. Everyone else around them is going to get a huge boost and just tear them up. And I haven't gotten to the point where I have such a big amount of free spawn yet in the game I was playing, but by the mid to late game, you'll be having so much free spawn that you won't even need to worry about it. So again, this is the build I went with, as I said, something like this. There. Exactly this. And now there's one other option I was considering, though I tested it in a game and I wasn't very happy with it. However, I think it could be useful in some cases. Let's show another one. That was the Floating Mind. Now, the Floating Mind is not really a great commander. He's got these really shitty scale bonuses, basically already what you have, so he doesn't do anything for you like that. He's got Water and Astral, so okay pass, but not really great. He's got a lot of these cool traits. For example, Innate Spellcaster, Mind Slime, Unsurroundable, and so on, Astral Fetters. And he's got these weird attacks like a Mind Blast, a Soul Leech effect. I'm not sure what the Soul Leech does. I think it just hurts them. And then these flame sting poison tentacles. Now this is a pretty crappy god, mostly because he only has zero protection. So he tends to die very easily, and actually in the game I was playing with him, he died in that game very quickly. My main thinking behind this was that because he's so cheap, he's only 60 points to get this one, 60 points, you can actually afford quite a lot with him. So even though he's a monster and he costs 80 for new paths, you just end up with so many points with him. You get like 900 points right here. So I can afford quite a lot with this guy. Maybe even go for something like a bit of a scales build. Something like that. I don't know. You can do a lot of things with him. I'm not sure what would be the best option for him. I've kind of thought about going for a bit of a thug build. Not really for him, because you think about like what are you going to thug as late age relay? Actually, your capital only star spawn are really excellent caster thugs once you get to the mid to late game. If you give these guys, now they're not sacred, but if you give them a battle shroud of the battle saint to give them the sacredness effect, then these guys can make really excellent caster thugs. So actually, if you focus on doing that, that could be an option as well. You can have those guys teleport around and do thugging, things like that. However, this is a very greedy play, and I'm not really sure how you can make this work. Card skin, maybe. I don't know. It's very, very difficult to see how you would get this to work out. I don't know. I didn't really think about this too much. Maybe you could make something with this work. I just think this could have potential because it is so cheap. You could probably do some kind of scales build or something interesting with it. But again, I went with the Void Lord for the game I'm going to show here. And actually, let's get into that in a minute. First of all, I'll go through the units. I forgot to talk about the commanders. So I've talked a little bit about the commanders here. You have your generic scout. You have your generic kind of leader. Now, this guy could be a little bit of a light thug as well, but I don't know. I tend to not really recruit this guy too much because he's not Void Sane, so he'll go insane very quickly. The Illithid Lord is a little bit better. He is Void Sane, so he's very secure. And generally, if I need a commander underwater, I'll get him if I can't just use some free spawn commander anyways. You have the Void Cultist, which you get on land. This is your generic land mage. Now, you don't actually have land mages in every fort, only in coastal forts. You'll get the Star Child. This guy's only a mage 20% of the time, otherwise he's just an insane preacher. But you know, that's okay as well, though you'll have so many free spawn insane preachers anyways. I don't know if you really even need to recruit this guy. I probably would not recruit him. You have your Slave Priest and Slave Mage. These guys are great, especially the Slave Mage is amazing in middle and early age. But in late age, I mean, he's not Void Sane. He's going to go insane really quickly, and you're just going to end up with a very useless, insane mage sitting in your capital doing nothing. So I actually probably would not recruit this guy at all, even though he's an excellent mage. He's cheap. He's a slave, so his upkeep is really, really low. But because he's not Void Sane, he's just not reliable. So I probably wouldn't get him. The only reason I would get him is for a little bit magic diversity, maybe in some forts which are outside of your dominion or something. You can get this guy and get a little bit of, for example, nature magic or something like that. Something a little bit different for some magic diversity, though I don't know. That would be very limited compared to what you would use in the other ages. Then you have the 2 Star Spawn. This is your Recruit Anywhere Star Spawn, and this is the main mage I would probably be recruiting if I can afford it. This one and the Star Child are both really great. Star Child is really, really cheap, so this is the best thing, and Astral 1 is just an excellent path. Plus, he's still just as good as in Middle Age, where he's a stealthy assassin, so you can give him like a bottle of water, bottle of magic water, and get him to assassinate people too. So you can still do assassination plays, and actually Late Age Relay has even more assassination options with some special spells, which we'll look at in a minute. The generic Star Spawn, he's your only Sacred Mage. He's Sacred, he's a Priest level 2. He's got 2 Astral and 1 Glamour. Relay has totally given up Death Magic in exchange for Glamour Magic, and none of your mages have much Water Magic either. This guy can only get Water 1. Even your biggest mage, at most, he can get Water 2, but that's still pretty unlikely. He can also get Earth and Astral. So these are all pretty good paths in general. Earth Astral is great. It means you can get some crystal gear later in the game. You can get into golems, which are mindless, which won't be affected by your dominion. And that's a great option to the late game as well to supplement your your kind of masses of free spawn and stuff like that. This guy's also your summoner, so you'll use this guy to summon stuff from the Void Gate. Yes, you still have the Void Gate, even though the Void Gate's spitting out insanity everywhere. I guess the Star Spawn think it's not a big deal to keep using it. So you can still keep using it, and you get some cool things from it. Some things that are not in your free spawn list, and all of them are sacred, of course, as well. So you can get like a vastness or some other kind of interesting things. Let me see, actually, if I can find a list of what you get from the Void Gate. Here they are. So this is all the gate spawn. You get a lot of the things you'll get from just your free spawn anyways. So everything from Thing Beyond to Lesser Otherness, all these cheaper, lower level units you can get from your free spawn. So that's quite nice. Anything above that is from the gate only. So like the Larger Otherness or the Greater Otherness, Dweller in the Deep, Thing That Should Not Be, a Vastness, which is a really amazing kind of prize. You get the special hero called the Shubec Visitor, who can teleport around. Other kind of things too. So all these better units you can get from the gate only, and of course you should have one of your star spawn at the gate at all times trying to summon something through, because when you get one of these guys, it's just really great, and all of these guys are sacred, of course, so they'll benefit from your bless, for example. All right, let's go back. And then lastly, you have the Hybrid Commander, which I mentioned before. Oh, yeah, I should mention the Commander, the capital only star spawn. Now he's the same name, but he's a much bigger mage. He's an Astral 3, Glamour 1, and he has two 100% chances at another level. So any of these, now these are not linked, so he could get 25% chance of all of these, and then another 25% chance of all of these again. So he can get up to 3, 4, 5 Astral pretty commonly. Like you'll get a few of these Astral 5 guys, which are excellent for doing some bigger spells. You can also get a lot of other useful paths too. This is generally your big caster mage. This could also be a thug into the mid to late game. Again, as I mentioned before, if you give him like a Sacred Shroud and a decent bless, or even without it, he can be a decent kind of caster thug and do a lot of work. So this guy's really useful as well. Definitely try to recruit a lot of these guys from your capital as much as you can afford, basically. All right, let's get out of here. Let's take a look at the game I showed. Before we do, however, I'm going to take a look at the mod inspector for some of the new things. So in the Dominions 5, you had this special weapon, the Anemone Mace. Now, I didn't really use this too much, I don't think. It does have a poison effect. You do have a new weapon now called the Jelly Bird, and this gives a area of effect Paralyze. So this is actually quite interesting, specifically if you have access to fire magic. So this is pretty interesting too. You can get Fire Astral, and if you pick the god I mentioned before, the Void Lord with Fire and Astral, you can craft this one. You can give this to, for example, the Star Spawn to make a kind of thug, and this could actually be quite interesting because it has the area of effect poison as well as the area of effect paralyze effect. So this is kind of an interesting weapon as well. You only have two special spells. These are Dreams of Relay and Contact Void Spectre. Dreams of Relay, this causes a kind of madness effect in enemy province. So you can cast it on a province far away from you, and it causes some kind of a madness effect in that area. The other one is, this one. Here it is, Contact Void Spectre. This one causes the province madness effect. So it will send a unit to the other province, and it will cause a madness effect in that province. The other one will summon a kind of attack unit, and it will target some kind of enemy commander and take them in their dream to kill them. So one's an assassination spell. The other one is a using the Void Spectre, which can cause madness and things like that. All right, so you can use this guy if you want to spread insanity. This is a really great unit as well, and he can, fly around. Is he stealthy? No, he's not stealthy, but he can spread insanity, which is quite good. All right, let's move on here. That's about all the special units you get for Ladies Relay. Let's take a look at one of the games I was playing. Now, this is a game I was playing with the god, this one, here he is right here, Special Ed Teacher, the Void Lord. This is the exact same build I went with before. I also gave him a little bit of armor to boost him up. I made this Enchanter Ringmail on the first turn and gave him that. Then later I made a Black Steel Tower Shield. You can see it gives him a lot of protection. The protection is really high at the moment. He's got good armor protection and decent body protection as well. He's still got 3 attacks as well, so it's pretty good. And he's got his Sphere Aura, his Inspirational, and so on. You can see I have a few free spawn units. This is one of the free spawns, and you can see he's insane, so he's searching for something now. And right here, this is actually a Astral 5 star spawn, so I mentioned it's pretty common to get a few Astral 5s, and there's an example right there. There's a few free spawn guys around here too. Some of them are insane. Mostly I shuffle them around to pick up units. In some provinces I get some free spawn units. So for example here I got some free spawn, a few otherness. You can see these are sacred. And then a few of these Triton Dreamers. The Tritons are a little bit annoying because they're not amphibious, so they just get stuck in the water. But I guess you can use them to help defend. Here's a few other kind of free spawn units. Some Elder Things, which are Mind Blasters. This is also why I don't really bother recruiting the Illithid units, because you get these guys for free, and they're also Mind Blasters, so you might as well just use these guys. And they're sacred too. Here's some Thing of Many Eyes. These guys are a little bit annoying because they're immobile, so they just sit here. Is this guy mobile? He doesn't have the immobile tag, does he? Is it? Oh, they are mobile. It doesn't have the immobile tag, does it? That's weird. So they're immobile, but they don't have an immobile tag. That's kind of funny. This guy, I'm going to have him move south. And not much else going on here. I was going to attack this province. I had a battle in the last turn. And you can see the average late age relay experience. Just a swarm of crap throwing at the enemy. You can see just a ton of these Dreamers and Crab hybrids and stuff like that. The Crab hybrids are really, really good underwater. They just make really short work of these guys. The Dreamers are kind of crap. I mean, they have low morale and they tend to run away, and they're not very strong. So a lot of times what will happen is if you have a bunch of these Dreamers, they will run in, they will start to die, and then they will rout and run away. So then your whole army will end up routing. See, look, they're routing right now. They're running away. The Crab hybrids luckily they're very beefy, and they hold the line and keep the battle going for now. Alright, not much else. Let's go to the next turn. Next turn I'm going to be attacking this province with these two guys. Take a look how I fare in a land battle. What else is happening right now? I'm building a fort over here. This guy's building a fort on water. I'd like to get a land fort up. Maybe right here I'll build one, because this looks like a good location. It's also quite close to some enemies. I don't have any land provinces yet, which is a little bit bad. However, I expanded underwater really well. I've taken the whole ocean here, and pretty quickly, it's just the beginning of year 2, and I've taken over the ocean without too many problems. Of course, I didn't lose my god, which is nice. Let's go to the next turn. Let's see this battle. Oh, beaten. That sucks. So again, this is a big problem with Late Age Relay. You have this problem where your Dreamers tend to just run away and then all end up dying. So let's take a look at this battle. What happened here? At least my god made it away, but he's got a lot of protection, which will support him a bit. Now what I think will happen is these Dreamers are just going to hit this group, and then they're going to just run away, because they're really low protection. Like, no protection, no armor, like, no weapons, practically. Like, they all just died very quickly against this heavy infantry. And yeah, they all died. Shamblers run in. These guys dealing with the otherness. Some of these guys running away. I think my god ran away. Did he run away? I think he did, yeah. So once you... I think they all just HP route, so that's a big problem with... This, too, is because, unlike other nations, we have a lot of undead. The undead are mindless, so they won't rout. They'll just stay there and fight. Because the Dreamers are not mindless, they tend to run away, or then eventually your commanders will run away, too. So that's not very nice. Okay, he was attacked. This guy's going into the Void Gate. He was attacked by something, so that's not good. That's too bad. So that battle went very poorly. Did my god make it away at least? Okay, he's right here, so that's good. I'll have to get another force going soon. Maybe we could try attacking again in about a minute. Got a few free spawn commanders. Luckily I've got enough free spawn that I should just be able to keep throwing crap at them. Let's actually get this guy. You can stay here and research for now. Another big thing with this nation is you really have to deal with a lot of the... In general, free spawn nations have a big problem with managing the infrastructure. Not infrastructure, I should say, but managing your units. You have so many free spawn units. Like I got free spawn units in a bunch of these provinces. I have to move them around to where they're actually useful for me. So often what ends up doing, you really have to get a lot of your commanders going around, picking up units and bringing them where they're needed. So I'm actually going to take this guy and attack here. And we'll send these 2 units to attack as well. Let's remove enable units. What did they remove? Okay, almost everything. Almost the whole army. So maybe we shouldn't attack this province. This looks like a big province. And neither of them really have many troops. Ugh. This is a big problem too, because a lot of your units are going to be underwater only. Like, look at this. This whole province here is all underwater only. I can't bring any of these on land. Let's take these guys and give them to him. This is going to be rough. I don't know if this is even worth trying to fight, because this is going to be pretty weak battle. Let's move my god back to the capital. My god's having a hard time going on land. Maybe I should just attack one of these weaker provinces instead of this one. This one's got still a lot of units, and that infantry is pretty tough. Let's get a few shamblers. This should help me. Maybe some Lobo Guard as well. Actually, I think I'm just going to go for a ton of Lobo Guard. I have such huge leadership, I might as well just get tons of these guys. And just swarm the land with them. Alright, just get tons and tons and tons of these guys. Get 100 of these guys. My leadership is so much, I could just get as many of these guys as I need, pretty much. Alright, that's good. Next turn, I'm going to have a big army coming in. Alright, not bad. Not really much else to do. Let's get this guy to search here. This guy's searching too, and then I'll have this guy build some infrastructure in this province a little bit later. And I'll build another fort maybe right here as well. Okay, I really need one of these land battles. Ugh, big failure. So getting on land as Lady Drelay is pretty difficult. You lack a lot of the beefier units that middle-aged relay can rely on. I mean, you don't lack them. It's just you can't really make that much use of them. Okay, I really need to be able to get one kind of force on land. Let's give all these guys to my god. And let's get one of these other guys to help accompany me. Now, this guy's insane, so I can't use him at the moment. Always a problem. These guys going insane. Okay, let's get one of these guys to accompany us on land. And, oh, okay, they can't be mindless. Let's just make another unit for him. So he's got inspirational presence. We can get these guys over here, and these guys too. Let's put all the Lobo Guard in front to run in. Throw these guys in there. Let's put this guy somewhere, maybe with these. Attack, and these guys just attack. Okay, this guy's doing blessing. That's good. So let's just send these 2 groups in. One more time, try to fight this. This guy, we'll send this guy in too, because he's got a bunch of junk with him too. Okay, hopefully this will be able to hold this time. We'll see how well this works out. This guy's casting Blessing, that's good. Okay, let's get these guys to do something. Well, I'll shuffle these guys around. Maybe I'll have this guy take these somewhere. I don't know what to do with all these guys. But move them somewhere else where they could be useful. I just don't know where. It looks like there's not really any other underwater nations, so far it's not too big a deal. I'm going to actually change my production here. . We'll take this out so I can build some infrastructure. And I'm actually going to switch from the big star spawn for now to get one of the cheaper ones. Well, these guys are barely any cheaper. So maybe I'll just get a Star Child for now so I can actually afford something. To building, let's build a lab here. I've already got a temple, that's good. I think that temple was free, right? Whalewind Waters. Okay, free temple, nice. Local merchants erected a glorious temple in honor of special ed teacher, King of Polestar. Right, great. And let's see, what did he find here? Shimmerfish Reef and Isle of Ice, great. Let's get this guy to move on. We'll get him to search around some other places. This guy should be done soon. Take a long time to build these rock walls. Okay, let's see if this battle works. This is the battle this time. See if I can actually win. Alright, battle. Oh my god, again. Just massacred by the heavy infantry. 27 heavy infantry just massacred these guys. Let's take a look at that. This is brutal. Big problem is that just my units are so crappy. They tend to just die very, very quickly. And you can see even indie heavy infantry just chop them apart. Brutal. That's so brutal. My god just ran away. Yeah, he ran away. I think he could probably take this by himself almost, but because of the HP routing, he just runs and then they all die. What do you summon? Elder Thing? That's not bad. Okay, where'd he go? He's still here. He's not injured at all. He's totally fine. I think I'm not going to bother attacking. I might even just attack one of these on my own. Let's give some of these to him. And let's just go attack one of these provinces on our own here. I'm not even going to bother with, like, anything else. Actually, let's have him fire weapon. I'm going to send him in. Yeah, I'll just send him in by himself because this is embarrassing trying to attack this province and keep failing like this. Search for magic sites. Oh, he already searched, so let's just send him back. Let's get this guy to collect some more units too. Just having these guys shuffle around and move these units back where they're actually useful. Okay, can this guy do something? What is he doing? Send him down here somewhere. Let's get this guy to search. Let's see how this battle goes. Hopefully we can get one land province. We need one land province, at least. Okay, let's see how that goes. Oh my god, again. Jeez. Big problem. I didn't have too much time in the water, too much of a hard time in the water, but on land, without the crab hybrids, I'm really struggling. The crab hybrids really held me up in the water because they have such good protection, and they, oh, he ran away again. They have good morale, just good everything, but on the land, I keep getting crushed by these. Battle here. Okay, that was good. So lucky this guy was there to just fight off these undead apparently underwater. There's white water, I think. What else can we do? We need to do something. Maybe we should send this guy in by himself somewhere. Let's recruit something else here. Let's get this guy. Okay, still seems like I have enough recruitment points to get a few of these guys. I wonder if this might be a better option, though I don't really know. I think I'm going to try something a little bit bold. Maybe I will try to just attack one of these provinces with him only. Now, I don't know how well that'll do. This is very, very tricky because I think it'll be hard for him. Let's see if we can give him a little bit of a better script in that case. So let's see if we can give him Body Ethereal. Since these are just going to be generic units, they probably won't be able to hit him if he's ethereal. We'll also give him... what? Turning... Let's Let's see what we can do. I think we'll do Body Ethereal, we'll do Quicken Self. And then we can do something like... I guess okay, maybe just do Blink so we can teleport around them. And then he can just attack them or fire and keep distance. Let's do fire. We'll sit him in the back. He can fire his mind attack on them and see how well he does. So let's attack one of these by himself. Just see how he does. This is in our Dominion, so he should get a little bit of boost. He's pretty strong. He's got a lot of protection. We'll see how well he does just on his own, without any of these crappy units accompanying him. All right, let's see how that goes. I'm going to save my money. I'm not going to recruit any more units. I need to save money to build another fort somewhere. This guy's building. Okay, that's good. Let's bring these guys around so we can keep them moving. Oh, this guy's going insane, so let's get these out of here, move him somewhere else. Ready? Let's see how well this goes. Hopefully he can do it. I'll see how well he can do on his own. Okay, here it is, Mammoth Grove. Oh, he did it. So on his own he can do it, but with a bunch of units he can't do it. And that's what I mentioned before, the morale problems that Lineage Relay has, because all your units tend to run away because they all die. You have a morale problem, a morale collapse, and then everyone just routes, including the commander. But when he's on his own, he has tons of morale. He's not going to run away. So he can just sit here, and oh, there he goes. Where'd he go? Looks like they can't even hurt him because he's ethereal. He's got the drain attack. Where is he? He's got his life drain attack. He's still got lots of protection and everything, so he can just take all these guys by himself. Yeah, I think that's all he needs. Maybe he can even thug out some pretty decent provinces. Looks like they can't even do any damage to him at all. And he can just mind blast them to death. Yeah, they can't even touch him. He's still untouchable. Wow, great. Barely any damage to him. Let's quit that. Let's try one more. I'm going to be a little bit risky. I'm going to recruit something here. I'll build a fort in this province. Let's get a scout here. Actually, I should start recruiting some scouts. I'm going to build a fort in this province, I think. This is not too bad. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just want as many land provinces as I can afford. Let's go for one of these other provinces. I think I'm actually going to send him to this one that's been giving me problems. Maybe I'll keep him in my Dominion. I'll go over here. This is with crossbowmen, but we'll see how well this does. This is risky. I don't know. I think this one also has crossbowmen, so I don't think it makes a difference. But let's see how well he can do in this province. So we'll try one more time. Again, this is really, really risky because he's just on his own. But let's try one more, see how well he can do. Oh, this guy's got a bunch of stuff. Let's just pack all these guys in here. This guy's just a big shuttle bus. I want to move him around wherever he can be most useful. Alright, let's get these guys to search here. You can go somewhere else. And how about you go to the south over here? Alright, let's end the turn. Okay, looks like he was able to do it, so that's pretty good. So this guy's actually not bad as an expander, honestly. Once you get him a little bit of gear, and you get a little bit of research, for example, some alteration, things like that, it seems like he can hold his own pretty well. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, and he can take them out. He's unsurroundable, so they can't get the surround penalty on him. And looks like they can't even touch him at all, because these are just mundane units. They don't have any magic weapons. They can't break his ethereal, so he can just totally ignore them, basically. Yeah, these crossbows keep shooting him. They can't even touch him. Barely any damage on him. Well, this guy's frozen. Alright, let's exit out of here. I don't know if there's that much else to show in this game. I can show you my research for now. Actually, I should get a little bit more here. I went for construction first to get a little bit of construction. Then I also went for alteration and thaumaturgy. I should actually go up to thaumaturgy 5 before I should go to conjuration. I've not been paying attention to the research that much as a test game, but definitely thaumaturgy is important, as is alteration. Since you don't really have much water magic, you really don't have anyone who can cast water elementals, so I wouldn't rely on this as a strategy for you in the mid-late game, so I don't think this is that much of a priority. Voice of Tiamat is still useful for you, and you can still get water too, but I wouldn't prioritize conjuration that much. You do have some unique conjuration spells, I think. This one, Contact Void Spectre, is the one I mentioned before, who can spread insanity to enemy provinces, which is pretty useful, but that's something a little bit more in the late game. Other thing, I think thaumaturgy is really important, getting up to level 3 for Mind Burn at least, and then up to level 5 for Soul Slay as well, and eventually level 6 for Dreams of Relay, which is an assassination spell. Some other things, I think Alteration is good. Just get up to Alteration 3, specifically for Body Ethereal. This is a good thug spell. You also have Luck. You can cast Luck as well with some of your units. Now, my god, I can't cast Luck with him, whereas I think Luck is an enchantment, right? Jeez, where is it? I totally forget now. Was it Alteration? Personal Luck is, I think Personal Luck's Thaumaturgy, right? Here it is. Okay, Thaumaturgy 3, so I already do have that. So if you get Thaumaturgy, you can cast Luck, but again, that's only for some of your Glamour units, so it's not useful for the god I've chosen. In general, Body Ethereal and Luck are your main kind of buffing paths for your thugs, so those are quite useful. Not much else to say, just a lot of, the longer this game goes on, the more annoying it's going to get to have to shuffle these units around constantly when you're playing any kind of Popsicle Nation, but especially Late Relay, where you have to deal with magic beings and non-magic beings. You're constantly just moving units back and forth from place to place, trying to get them where they need to be, so they can actually be useful for you. Okay, this looks like it was built. Let's build something here. I want to build a fort. Which one's better? This one's a little bit better. Let's construct a fort there. That's good. He might go insane though. I don't know. He's not insane yet, but he might go insane. This is a good place. I'm just going to build lots of forts. Like I said, you're already a pop kill, so it doesn't really matter if you build forts everywhere. Like, your production doesn't really matter at all. You're mostly going to be relying on free spawn and your commanders, and maybe some thugs later in the game. But all that is stuff you don't really need to produce, so I wouldn't worry. You can just, as much as you can afford, just keep building forts, because it'll give you a lot more defense and make it a lot harder for people to go after you. If they have to sit in your dominion, sieging down a ton of forts, they're going to have to sit there and keep taking insanity, which is going to make it really, really annoying and difficult to attack you. And that's really what you want. You want to be as annoying and difficult as possible, and I think this is a great build for that. I think this god is really excellent in terms of giving you some help and expansion, for being useful a little bit late game for some bigger spells and some cross path with fire and water as well. So in general, I think this is quite useful. He's useful now, and he'll be useful into the mid-late game as well. But not much else to say. I think I'm going to end the game here. And I'll see you guys again next time. Goodbye, guys.